simple ways to attract great clients. Our speaker today, Alay Yajnik, is a certified business coach, consultant, and trainer. Primarily works with solo, small, and mid-sized firms. He was a successful Silicon Valley executive for about 15 years. Left that to focus on what his passion is, which is building businesses, developing people, and by applying proven practices to law firms, he's enabled them to earn millions of dollars while reducing the stress for the law firm owners, which is key. He holds an MBA, he's an award-winning business coach, certified by Focal Point International, and, I did not know this, he's actually a coach's coach. He's one of 6 people worldwide authorized to train other Focal Point International business coaches. Today, 3 simple ways to attract great clients. The focus, what he's going to cover, has the potential to dramatically improve the way that you look at your firm, and the results that you can expect from it. Very excited to have him here sharing with us today, so please welcome Alay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks a lot for sharing your lunch hour with me today, or maybe hour and a half today. My name is Alay Yajnik, as Matt mentioned. First off, I want to thank the Contra Costa County Bar Association, the Solo Small Firm section, for having me here today. It's a delight to be meeting with all of you and to be sharing the next 90 minutes talking about some ways that you can actually attract better clients without wasting time and money. A couple of things before we get started. This is going to be a workshop, so it is going to be interactive. We've got some work for you guys to do. It's easier for me that way, but it also ensures that you get some content when you leave. You'll have some action items and things that you can do to take with you after the talk if you so choose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you everything I can in the time that we have, and then I'll show you where to get more if you want it. Is that all right? Super. Just before we get started, again, a couple things I need to apologize for. First off, I'm from California, so you might catch the occasional awesome or cool or dude, and I'm sorry about that. The other thing is I'm going to be going really, really fast. It is being recorded, and you do have the slides with you, so just take the best notes that you can. And then you can always catch the recording later to, if there's something you heard but you didn't manage to write down. So just relax, enjoy it. And then the last thing is, we talked about 3 simple ways. There's actually going to be more than 3. There's a minimum of 3. So what I would encourage you to do for today, you're taking time out of your practice to be here. Just step away from the triage and all the stuff that's going on in your practice right now. Think about how you can improve the state of your practice. And if you take one great idea out of today's workshop, I'd call that a win. Would you agree? Yep. Super. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So, the problem that we're all dealing with. The first is that clients can be hard to find, right? Who's ever had that problem? Show of hands. Really, that's all? Come on, be honest. Yeah. It's really hard to find clients at times. It's not like they're walking around necessarily with a sign asking for you to help them. There's a lot of competition in the Bay Area for attorneys, so it can be really hard to find your clients. The second challenge is that you end up with marketing and wasting a lot of resources on it, right? Whether it's internet-based marketing or networking, which can cause you to waste a lot of your time. It's very easy to waste money and time on marketing activities to attract clients. The other challenge you have as lawyers is you're pitched to all day long. Everyone wants to sell you something to get more clients, don't they? Right? Happens all the time. So who here kind of has felt like at times in their practice they were wasting some time? Okay. Who's felt like they're wasting some money? Okay. It happens a lot. So what's really important is that we're very intentional about how we plan our marketing activities so we understand what it is we're trying to get as a result of making that investment of money and that investment of time. And just as a side note, for all of you, time is your most precious resource. So wasted time is much worse than wasted money. Who's ever wanted to do this to a client? In fact, I was just talking to someone the other day, I think it might have been this morning, they were saying that oftentimes, as a result of their marketing, they get a flood of people trying to sell them stuff, clients who can't afford their services, people that just want free advice, to the point where they hired a receptionist to handle all those calls, but they're not getting any clients out of it. So in addition to paying for marketing, they're now paying for a receptionist. Those clients are wasting their time. And if they were able to sign them up, you'd probably want to do this, right? So ideally, we want clients, we don't end up dealing with this kind of situation. As a result of all those things, hard to find clients, wasting time and money, getting the wrong kinds of clients, it can be kind of an energy drain in your practice. Makes it really hard for you to do great work for your clients. What else do you think it makes it hard for you to do? What was that?
Earn money.
Earn money, yeah.
Pay the rent.
Pay the rent, sure. Makes it really hard for you to attract great clients. I worked with a client about a year ago. His office is in Walnut Creek. He's a terrific solo attorney. In fact, I was surprised when he reached out to me, said he wanted some help because I thought he was very successful. And he was. The problem was he hated like 70% of his clients. To the point where he was getting exhausted at the end of the day. He was tired, he was burned out, and he was ready to leave his solo practice and join a larger firm. As a result of just focusing on what a great client is for him, and focusing on those clients, he dropped a bunch of his clients, got a bunch of new ones, and he had a real shot of energy into his practice, and he's never looked back since. So that's the power that surrounding yourself with great clients can actually have. So here's the opportunity. We want clients to just be flowing our way, right? Clients that come through regularly, almost like you turn on the hose on a faucet, they're potential clients, right? When you've got enough, you can turn that hose off, and you don't get any more. So we really want to feel like there's always enough clients there for us, and always enough clients there for our competition. Right? It really changes our mindset when we understand that. The second thing we want is we want to make sure that we're actually investing in our marketing activities. So instead of it being, okay, well, I'm just going to try this and try that and hope, we actually have a goal in place, whether it's leads, whether it's potential clients, whether it's exposure, but whatever it is, we have a goal in place. And so we can look at marketing as an investment of time and money that's going to return potential clients and leads. Yeah? The third thing we really want to have is amazing clients. These are clients that excite us, that absolutely delight us, that we want to work with all day long, who really appreciate the value in what we do. They're great, engaged partners in the process. And they really can propel us forward. If we have those things working, instead of an energy drain, we actually have an energy surge. We love getting up in the morning. We love taking care of our clients. We love working in our practice. And at the end of the day, that's what I want for each and every one of you. So to get the most out of today, there's 3 keys, and these are in your slide. 3 things you want to keep in mind as we're going through the concepts today. The first is a lot of what we're going to be talking about is going to be about discovering really why clients choose to hire you. Because they don't have to, right? What are some alternatives? If a client comes to meet with you, instead of hiring you, what else can they do? They can hire someone else. Yeah. What else?
Not get an attorney at all.
Not get an attorney at all, self-represent. Yeah, what else? Just ignore the problem and it goes away. Just do nothing. Right? So a big part of what we're going to be talking about today, and we're going to give you a framework for this, but it's really figuring out why those clients that hired you chose to hire you. Because they did so for a reason. It might be your network, it might be the strength of the referral you received, it might be your expertise, whatever it is, they chose to hire you for a set of reasons. We need to find out what those reasons are so we can use those to go get more clients just like these people. Second thing we want to really do is focus on our clients. The better we know our ideal clients, the clients we want to work with, the easier it's going to be to market to them and to attract those clients in. So again, we're going to go through a framework for this, but as we go through this, I want you to think about not the clients that you hate, but the clients you love. If your practice was just filled with clients like this, you would be absolutely delighted. Those are the clients that we want to focus in on, and we want to learn as much about it as possible, because we're going to use that for all the marketing efforts that we do from here on out. Last but not least, who here does networking? Okay, great. So who here's had to stand up and give a 30-second or a minute-long elevator pitch marketing message? Yeah? You know when you're in the room and you hear someone that just does an amazing job, you think, wow, that's really memorable, that's really impactful, I wonder how they did that. They're really talented. Well, I'm sure they are talented, but what else are they doing? Practicing, yeah. They probably didn't just stand up there and just throw it out on the first try. They worked on it, they practiced it, they wrote it down, they rehearsed it, and it's probably evolved over time. So if you haven't brushed up on your marketing message, we're going to give you a framework today so you can do that. But I encourage you to spend more time figuring out how to answer that question. So what do you do? Because the better you can answer that question, the more impactful and memorable you can make it, you'll find it's the easiest possible way to attract more clients to you. Okay? So just a recap, 3 keys: discovering your value, focusing on your client, and last but certainly not least is crafting your message. Okay? Anyone have any questions on anything I've covered so far? Super. So let's go and get to work. What if I told you that most marketing is done backwards? Anyone know what I mean by that? So try to read ahead, it's not in your slide deck. I think a lot of people, a lot of businesses are marketing backwards. Here's what I mean by that. So what I'm going to be teaching you today is a framework called aligned marketing. And it starts, well, the framework actually is the 3 N's. The first one is your message. Can you read that in the back? Is that clear? Okay. Your message is, like we talked about, it's what you say to attract the clients that you want. It's also understanding the value that you provide to your clients. So we're going to figure out your message by using a technique called the 4 W's. And we'll go through that in a minute. The second M is your market. Okay? This is your ideal client. It's a client you really want to have. The third is the medium. And by medium, it's kind of like, I use the word kind of like as an artist would, right? Artists can choose different medium in which to do their work. Just like that, you can choose different mediums for your marketing tactics. So you can choose to do email marketing, you can choose to do public speaking, you can choose to do networking, right? You can choose to do pay-per-click, blogging. Those are all different marketing tactics. And that all falls under the heading of medium. So what I mean by marketing backwards is oftentimes I hear people talking a lot about this, right? Is pay-per-click going to work? Alay, should I be doing email marketing? Alay, should I be networking? What do you think the problem is with jumping straight here? Any ideas?
You don't know what you're fishing for.
Yeah, exactly. You want to elaborate on that a little bit, John?
Well, no, I mean, if you're just throwing out a message and you don't know what your ideal client is going to be, then you're just scattering seeds in the wind without actually focusing on anything.
Right, right, exactly. Do you have a hand?
Same thing.
Same thing.
You don't know who you're reaching.
Right.
Are you reaching that person who's ideal?
From state bar rules, you have to be extra careful you're not giving legal advice, because if somebody scans along and sees something you've said, applies it to themselves, and then says, oh, but I read it on your website, you don't want any liability for being construed to be giving legal advice from advertising.
Sure, absolutely. So, and your points are well taken. The challenge with going here is you haven't figured this and this out yet. Okay? This is where people waste a lot of time and money. They just jump straight to this because they hear someone come in and go, look, you really ought to try this marketing technique. You can get a ton of clients that way. And they start using it. By the way, if we're looking at return on investment, just as an aside, let's just say that the goal of marketing is to produce leads or potential clients. Is that fair? So we're not really trying to build Coca-Cola, so we can take all the branding stuff and put that aside for a moment. We're just talking about leads. So in terms of that, if you're thinking about leads as the benchmark for assessing success of marketing, what is the worst marketing technique? How many leads does it produce?
Do it now.
0, right? I get that answer a lot. It's actually not true. The worst marketing tactic is the one that produces lots of potential leads, but they're all really crappy. Because in addition to wasting your money, now you're wasting your time as well, going through all these leads. So either case though, if a marketing technique produces no leads or produces a lot of bad ones, we don't want to pursue it, right? If you jump straight here, that's the risk you run. The other challenge I run into is around market. A lot of clients will tell me, yeah, you know what, Alay, I want to target this kind of client. Because they can really afford to pay me a huge premium on my fees. I can do great work for them. That's the client that I want to target. What do you think's the problem with that? This side of the room. What's the problem with just figuring out the client you want just because they're attractive to you? In a professional sense.
You may not be suitable.
Right. You may not be suitable. Again, if you start to go after a market where you're not a good fit, you're going to end up wasting your time, wasting your money, and you're not going to get a result. Unfortunately, most of the people that I talk to spend most of their time here. They spend the least amount of time up here. And that's what I mean by marketing backwards, because ideally, you want to start here with your message. Then, your message is going to lead you to the market that you're well suited to, the market that you deliver huge value to. And it may not necessarily be your dream market, but it's the market that you can tap into to get maximum clients as quickly as possible. And you don't need to change. You just need to be who you are. Once we've got that figured out, then and only then does it make sense to start talking about marketing tactics. And we use the marketing tactics to communicate our message. Okay. Any questions on this framework? Okay. So far, I want to hear from you guys. So far, what's been most valuable to you as far as insights that you've got? How about someone from the middle of the room? Middle row here. What's been most valuable to you so far?
I targeted because I did experience what you said with 50 million callers, and it had to take somebody to scan through and get rid of. And then the conflict of interest check, also depending on the legal history and background, could be a whole other problem with when you're attracting broad internet and having to be sure they aren't an affiliate, subsidiary, co-affiliate of somebody you've either litigated or you still have to do all your conflicts with. So I ended up going straight from more targeted. Who is the target market?
Yeah.
How do I get straight to that target?
So you're really focused, you took a step back, you're really focused on your target market. Okay, great, great. What's been most valuable to you so far in our talk, this side of the room? Any insight so far? Boy, really? It's a Monday. Yes?
I'm just trying to develop your message and your market before you actually jump off to advertising. And like you said, I think a lot of people do that in advertising where they want to jump to, we're going to try this, we're going to try that, and keywords and whatever it may be without really developing your message first.
Yeah.
Because you give me broad appeal, and that broad appeal might be a lot of what you don't want.
Perfect. Those are excellent recap. Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and just get to work. In your packet, you have a worksheet. I think most of you have turned to it already. Looks kind of like this, a line marketing worksheet. So I talked about the 4 W's in the message, right? We're going to cover that right now. So in that first row there, under where it says message, there are 5 boxes. That first box is why you chose your profession. That's the first W. So why did you choose to become a lawyer or a mediator? The second is why you chose your area of expertise. So why did you choose to become an estate planning attorney, a litigator? Now it's really important if you're like me, you fell into your profession. This wasn't what you wanted to do when you were 10 years old. But you had an option. You could have left. You could have chosen to do something else. But you didn't. You stayed. And so what are the reasons why you did that? Don't fill them out yet. We're just going to go and go through all these boxes and then we'll fill them out together. Third W is what benefits do your clients receive while working with you? And the fourth W is what sets you apart from your best competitors. Okay? So let's just take a moment. Let's go back to box 1, why you chose your profession. Go ahead and write that in. And if for some of you it might be more appropriate, why you chose to stay in your profession. It's distracting, so let's shut it off. We'll be fine. The boxes are small for a reason. So just write quick phrases, bullets, a couple words. Okay, we good? Is everyone good to move forward? No?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Second box, why you chose your area of expertise. Or why you chose to stay in your area of expertise. Okay? See people still working. Let me know if you need more time. Third box, what benefits do clients receive from working with you? Do they make more money? Do they have peace of mind? Do you reduce the risk? Do they feel protected? Do they get a sense of satisfaction? Okay. Last box. The fourth box. What sets you apart from your best competitors? And by this, I really do mean your best. So oftentimes people think about what sets them apart from the competition, other law firms, but oftentimes the law firms that choose to compare themselves to are not worthy competition. So instead of thinking about the worst competitors, think about your best competitors. It's a lot more challenging when you do that.
What sets me apart may be that I'm not as good as they are.
there's a line in there. You may not be as good as they are. That allows you to do what we do rate. Come down. There you go. Sometimes it's just your network. Just who you know. They're connecting you with your clients. That's what sets you apart from your competition, because your competition doesn't even get a chance to talk to that potential client. Totally fine. You might be the best estate planning attorney in Concord. Super. Now we can actually take this. So we've done the 4 W's, right? What we can do is we can take the 4 W's and we can put them together to create a message. Now people buy for 2 key reasons. The first is passion. Your passion. The second is value. Okay? That's the formula. If you have passion, if you deliver value, that's going to make a potential client want to become an actual client. Has anyone seen the TED Talk by Simon Sinek, which is the Golden Circle? It's about how leaders inspire action. Anyone seen that? It's where he talks about it's not about what you do, it's about why you do it. That's why people buy. Okay? He's speaking to this, that people really buy because they connect with your passion. The second reason people buy is just you're good at what you do. You provide value to them in terms of the expertise for the price point. You need to have both. Yes?
Oh, is he the one who talks about having a good story? Like people buy because they like the story behind
Yes.
the product?
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah, thank you. And in those 4 W's, you have the ingredients for the passion and the value. The first 2 questions, why did you choose your profession? Why did you choose your area of expertise? They hit the passion. Okay? People need to know that. The second 2 questions hit the value. What are the client benefits and what sets you apart from your best competition? Okay? So what I'd like you to do, just take the phrases you put in each of those 4 boxes and put them all together in that box that says your message. Don't worry about getting them right, just get them in there for now, and you can work on it later. So you want to take why you chose your profession, put your response there at the start, then follow it up with why you chose your area of expertise next, then the client benefits, third, and last, what sets you apart from your best competition. How are you all doing on that? I see people writing furiously. Okay, some of you are still writing, some of you are done, so I'm going to go ahead and move forward. Anyone have any questions about that piece, creating your message? Okay, who feels like they have a pretty solid message now? Wow, like 2 people. Seriously? Who feels like they have a pretty solid message? No? Okay, then we need to do some work. So, if you don't have the solid message, you don't feel that way, love to hear about it. So who's struggling? Yeah.
box, they don't really go together very well.
Right. Okay. Would you mind reading those out? You don't have to. Totally up to you.
No problem. So I thought it would help people. Estate planning and probate was my favorite subject in law school. I provide peace of mind. I am accessible to my clients.
Right. All you need to do is stitch that together a little bit. Like you could say, I chose to become an estate planning attorney because it was my favorite profession in law school. Clients benefit from,
Hold on, let me find the right one. They benefit because we provide peace of mind.
I provide my clients with peace of mind in the estate planning process, and as a result of that, and clients choose me because I'm very accessible for them. Done. That's great. So just take those 4 phrases you put in. You might have to put a little bit of transition language around them, but you have the core right there.
I would not hire you based on that.
You wouldn't. What's that?
I like the second half, but the first half is a little flat to me.
Yeah. Any ideas on what she can do to punch that up, James?
Maybe explain why estate planning was your favorite class. What made that stand out for you?
What do you think you were good at? What experience in your life drew you to it? What made you aware of it? Or was it something in your own upbringing or your parents or grandparents or something that you think made it a strength for you?
Yes, I mean, I already was leaning that way prior to, but in the middle of law school, my dad died.
Well, that's a whole experience.
That's a really powerful story there. The other thing is you might be underselling the benefits that your clients get from working with you, and you're almost certainly underselling what you do that separates you from your best competition. I expect it's a lot more than accessibility, because they may not even know how accessible you are until after they choose to work with you. I don't know. One thing you might want to do is pick 3 of your best clients over the past 12 months and have a 15-minute conversation with them and go, look, think back to before you hired me. I'd love to find out why you chose me. Oftentimes we get really surprised at the answers that our clients give us, because either we don't think that whatever benefit, accessibility, you might not think it's a big deal. Your clients might think it's a huge deal. Who knows? Right? Or we might think that our rates are a big factor. And it turns out that our rates weren't really a factor at all. It was something else. So it's always nice to do some client interviews. In your case, just talk to like 3 over the past 12 months and see what they have to say. You might be really surprised. So let's move on to market. Interest of time here. So when we talk about market, we're talking about our target market, right? These are the clients that we absolutely love. So what I'd like each of you to do is to think about a specific client, a specific person who is or was one of your clients that you absolutely loved working with. They generally probably paid their fees on time. They were engaged in the process. And you think, man, if all my clients could be just like this person, I would be delighted. Does everybody have that person in their mind? Okay, does anyone not? All right, great. So in that first box there, go ahead and write down their name, where it says ideal client name. So when we think about our target market, there's 2 ways that we can kind of define our market. One way is through demographics. Any guesses as to the other way? What was that? I heard it. That's it. Yes, psychographics. Anyone want to take a shot at explaining what demographics are? Okay. demographics are simply things that you can typically sort on in like a database or LinkedIn or something like that. If you target individuals, like households, things like that, it might be average age of the specific person, what their income is, where they're located, do they have children, do they own a home, those kinds of things. So things that are matters of public record, and they can oftentimes be searched on. And that's incredibly valuable when you're trying to come up with a list of potential target clients. The second is psychographics, and psychographics are a lot more difficult to search on because it's what's going on in the mind of your client when they choose to work with you. Oftentimes that can be really powerful, and we're going to talk more about that in a second. But let's get into a couple more things here. So you pick down the name of that client, right? Next box is why. So why did you choose them? What was it about them that makes them your ideal client? And once you've written that out, go ahead and move on to the demographics box and put in some characteristics about them. In terms of age, if you're targeting a corporate type client, it might be the size of the company, the kind of industry that they're in, how many employees they have, what their annual revenue is like. Are they growing? Are they exiting? Those kinds of things. For individuals, like if you're doing estate planning, oftentimes it's where they're located. Do they own a home or not? What's the size of the estate? Do they have kids? Do they have stepkids? What's their annual income? Doing all right?
I just have a problem because it always ends up that my clients are all really poor.
Your ideal clients are really poor as
Yeah, well, that part makes them unideal, but the rest of it, yeah.
Okay. Can you think about a client who was an ideal client in every way, but they actually weren't poor?
I can imagine a person.
But
who
you
is
haven't
like
come across them yet.
that. No, not really.
Okay.
I do a lot of criminal defense.
Ah.
They're oftentimes not very well equipped to pay for
Right.
financial service.
Right, they're not. So it would be that kind of a person, but they would actually be able to pay your fee.
Right.
Right.
A rich criminal.
Right. Rich criminal. Excellent.
That would be ideal.
So what kind of household income does a rich criminal typically have? Or your rich alleged criminal?
I think there's a sweet spot in there.
Yeah.
It's just there aren't
Very many of them.
because most of them don't have anybody.
We need to target the mob.
The mob, I know. How do you start my white collar crime career?
So yeah, that's a good point. If you've not had an ideal client in your practice, then just think of an ideal client in other ways and add whatever's missing onto it. So in your case, it was everything else the same, but they can actually,
But like employed and things.
right? They can actually afford to pay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And so as a consequence of that, what are some of the demographic characteristics? Where do they live? Like they might live in Alamo or Orinda or something like that. What industry do they work in? They're probably an executive of some sort. I don't know. Or they might work for the mob. Or two.
Those are rich criminals. Those are rich criminals.
Yeah.
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 Any other questions on demographics? So let's move on to psychographics. Psychographics are really interesting. Just think about a moment, what if you knew what was going on in the mind of your client when they decided to work with you? How could you use that information? Any ideas?
Do it some more.
Yeah, elaborate on that.
Well, whatever it is that's attracting that, you or your organization to them, you simply make sure that they are aware of you doing that.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
You can reinforce it. Totally. Yes. What else? How else can you use that?
a solution for that?
You can market that you offer a solution for that. So you can take those, whatever's going on in your mind, you can build it into your marketing. And that will really allow you to target your client very effectively, because when they read it, they're going to be saying, wow, this person really gets me. They know exactly what I'm going through, which makes them a lot more likely that they'll want to work with you. So what I use to do psychographics is called the 4 forces. And you can Google this, it's not mine. There's basically 4 things that clients are feeling, right? And they're in 4 categories, excuse me. The first is frustration. So what are their frustrations? Okay. Second, what are their fears? Third, what are their needs? And fourth, what are their aspirations? Okay? Frustrations, fears, needs, aspirations. Does anyone have any questions on what those, on any of those terms, what they mean? You good? Okay. Now let's take a minute now. In the box where it says Psychographics, think about that ideal client in your mind. What are their frustrations? And if you go one level below that, hitting a little bit closer to home for them, what are their fears? And then on the flip side, what are their needs or wants? Last but not least, what are their aspirations or what are their hopes or dreams? How are you feeling about your ideal client as we've just characterized them?
I like them.
Good. You guys want to reach him? Really? Oh, I got one yes. That's good. Thank you. Seriously, you guys want to reach him?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. So let's get to it. So let's talk medium. So medium, again, just to recap, these are the specific marketing tactics that you're going to be using to go after your ideal client. Not just any client, but that person that you just filled out. You want to get more people exactly like them. So when we're thinking about a marketing tactic for that person, what are some of the things that we should consider when we're doing that?
Technological savviness.
Sure, yeah. We have to be able to reach them, right? So reach is one. What else?
You have to explain your message.
Yeah, you have to explain your message, and they have to do what?
Be receptive to it.
They have to be receptive, yeah. receptivity. Great. What else?
You have to make them want to actually follow through with it.
Sure.
And go to you or fix
Call to
their
action.
problem or
Yeah.
whatever it is that they're seeking your services or any attorney services for.
Yeah, so if you can reach them and they're open to hearing what you have to say, but what you say turns them off, they're not going to be interested, right? So you have to build, and I've got to figure out a third R for this one, but you've got to build some level of desire.
Response.
You want to drive a response, yeah?
That's an R
Can we
word.
put down response? That's awesome. Let's use that. So reach, receptivity, and response. This is great. I can write a lot of this. Thank you. But yeah, we want to make sure that whatever we're doing, that we do it in a way that is going to be consistent with our personal brand and our ethics. So there's ways to do direct mail, right? You can put a pamphlet in the mail and send it off, or a postcard and send it off. There's other ways to do direct mail which are a lot classier and a lot more sophisticated. You can send a formal invitation to an event, right? There's ways that you can do telemarketing, for example. And I know as attorneys you can't generally do telemarketing, but there's ways that you can do that so it's not annoying and it's very classy. Right? It's called appointment setting services. There's ways that you can do email marketing to where you're always giving value, right? You're not just constantly talking about yourself. So there's ways that you can do most of these marketing tactics, and you can do them in a way that's consistent with your brand, and do it in a way that it creates desire in your client, so they'll want to reach out and work with you the next time they have a need for your services. Okay? Any questions about that so far? So let's go ahead and put it to use. So under medium, let's just think about some marketing tactics that your ideal client would actually appreciate. Well, they would actually say, you know, thank you. I appreciate that. That's great.
Website?
Yes, could be your website, especially if you make it a source of information for them. Yeah. There's a law firm in, I think they're in San Jose, and what they do, by the way, how many folks are in Provisors here?
What?
Provisors, it's a networking group. Okay, a few of us. How many people are in the Council of Business Advisors? Okay, a few folks. So Provisors is a networking group, so is the council in the Bay Area. There's one person that's a member who's in San Jose, and what he's done with his website is really cool. He's taken all the frequently asked questions that he gets, and he's made videos on each of them, and has posted them on his website. So he can just direct people to his website and position it as a source of information for his potential clients. So that's a good example of using your website in a way that your clients would actually appreciate.
What's his area of expertise?
I don't remember. I'm sorry. I want to say plug a while, but I'm not positive. So in that box there, marketing tactics that your ideal client would appreciate. Does everyone have at least two things in there? Yes.
I don't have two things.
Okay.
So I do estate planning. So my ideal client would be, say, a married couple with children, because
Okay.
they're concerned about guardians. So I don't know what the best way to market to them would be. You know, a lot of mail goes unanswered. I'm not inclined to mail things. You know, one-on-one networking, but I don't know. Do you have any suggestions for that kind of client who it's not a well, it may be a continuing relationship, but maybe once every 10 some odd years
Sure.
they check back in, but it's not like a business, you know, attorney who would have to have contact with that
Okay.
client.
Yeah, so you're looking to target married couples, right? Who, do they have an estate plan or not?
Ideally, no.
Okay,
Ideally,
so they don't have an estate plan.
yeah,
Right.
they've come to the realization that they need one because no one around them.
Yeah, so they've got kids maybe,
Mm-hmm.
okay? They just had some kids, or they just bought a home. That's another good trigger for estate plan. So let's just think about what's going on in their minds when they buy a home. And I'm thinking that really specifically. They're thinking, oh great, we bought this amazing new home. Wonderful, we've got to get homeowners insurance. They may not even know that they need an estate plan. But who would?
Their insurance broker.
Their insurance broker, who else?
Real estate agent.
Real estate agent, who else? Mortgage broker, right? So those three can tell them, by the way, congrats on your purchase. Have you thought about having an estate? Because if something happens, your house will go into probate. Right? You want to avoid that. So that might be a target for your networking efforts. Yes?
That's a great idea, but just as a point of reference, most of those people tell our clients, oh, just make it joint tenancy, you'll be fine. That way, one of you will get it when the other one dies. So there's a whole re-education that would need to go on to those people first.
Yeah. Maybe for the people you're talking to, but you can talk to different people, because I know for a fact, I know mortgage brokers and loan officers, real estate agents that don't position it that way. So just bear that in mind. Those people you might be talking to may not be the most appropriate for your practice.
Well, it's our clients coming to us that have told us that that's what those people have told us to, and now they're learning, oh, maybe I should have done something
Doesn't
different.
have to be that way. Yeah. Yeah.
As a real estate practitioner, I have to second that family law lawyers do not consult real estate attorneys as often as they should, and estate planning people don't usually consult real estate as often as they should. And people who sell real estate, mortgage brokers, or whatever, end up being my clients because they've made these broad brush decisions and found out later that they don't work.
Okay. I think we can argue about this all day long, but
But
I
I'm
have estate
seconding
planning
her
attorney clients,
position,
and I know for a fact that that's not the case all the time.
Not all the time.
The other thing you might want to think about.
Can I just throw something out?
Yeah.
Because what you could do though, maybe is instead of going to the clients, get like use the bar association, put together a function with the different, and do like a round table with all of the different types of attorneys that really should be getting together when certain life events happen and educating the attorneys.
Or a blog that says why joint tenancy is a stupid idea.
There you go. Perfect.
But there's one gentleman in our firm who wrote an article on the very obscure point of law, and he still gets referrals 5 years later because it pops. It's just an issue that pops that people are interested in, and that his name comes up first when you run that search. Something about personal guarantees.
Super. Got a couple of ideas?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I was thinking more how to get to that person, but to get to them through others was what I was missing. Thank you.
Okay. Did you get a couple of ideas?
I'm sorry,
Did you get a couple of ideas down?
I did?
Good.
Well, I'm kind of past that part, my kids are way older now, but speaking of PTA groups, send out like brochures at PTA meetings or church groups. A lot of churches have a bunch like people that will meet, and they're a great source of contact. And if they aren't interested, they know people that might be interested.
Great. Good ideas. Anyone else have any other ideas they want to share? This is terrific. Okay.
Talking about how to reach clients, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I've been a long-time member of the Bar Association and been around too long. So my whole thing was always to get out with the lawyers and be active in the Bar Association. Go to the sections. When I was on the board or the president, I got around. I used to know everybody, and that's always been sort of the most fertile ground for referrals and for business in the law firm. But now it's all about internet marketing and how much are you going to pay for pay-per-click and all this blah blah blah. And I don't know. It's sort of lost on me because I think one of the best ways, is to just get out there with the lawyers who can refer business to you. And that's why you need to be active in the Bar Association and get to know the people, particularly in a suburban, area like we are. It's 1,800 members or whatever it is now. I can't remember, but I think that is a very good way to market your law practice.
For certain kinds of clients.
Well,
Your best
yeah,
clients will come
it
back
just
to
expands your web of contacts out there. And like she was saying, go to an event where a section is bringing in an insurance person or a construction person or whatever, and just try to make those contacts. I think it's a good way to.
It's a great way to go.
Get your name out.
It's a great way to go. I just want to just make a specific point right now, since you brought it up. You're going to hear a lot from different people about this kind of marketing doesn't work, that kind of marketing does work, this kind of marketing, I wasted a lot of money on it, that kind of marketing has been great for me. Always think about their practice is different from yours, their practice is similar to yours. So think about where there's similarities, where there's differences. And make sure, again, that your ideal client is actually going to be engaged, going back to the demographics we have up there, that's going to work for your client, and they're going to have reach, receptivity, and response for that specific message. And what I mean by that is, for a certain law practice, networking works really well. But if your law practice is based on getting all your leads over the internet, that's all that you do, that's your business model, networking might be a bit of a waste of time, right? But that online model doesn't work for many law firms. The networking model works for most law firms. There's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say.
That's why I can't.
Okay, so now think about, again with your ideal client, what's the number one marketing tactic that you've used that's gotten you the best results? Go ahead and write that in the box where it says your number one tactic. What's your best marketing tactic? There or not. So that's the first thing. The second thing, again, for me personally, I want to be in a leadership role, ideally in a group, because I enjoy doing that. And so new groups give me an opportunity to do that, more so perhaps than groups that are already established. But I enjoy both. They both work out well, and sometimes not so well. Okay, marketing to add, last box. So, if you're thinking about your ideal client, and you're thinking, you know what? I missed on something. I should really be doing more networking. Go ahead and add that, whatever it happens to be, in marketing to add. Yes?
Could I ask for a consensus in how attorneys would respond to a marketing idea I have?
Great room for it.
I'll be brief. I do a lot of speaking even to attorneys, but also to contractors on construction, and especially mechanics things. Sometimes I do it as a chart, sometimes it's a primer. But what if I sent it to all the attorneys I know and said, please feel free to forward this to any contractors you think might find it helpful? A little too smarmy?
Give me your card.
Defending or procuring a mechanic?
Either.
Just give me your
I
card.
just know, because I don't do mechanics.
We'd love somebody to come in and talk, because we do a lot of mechanics lane stuff, and could you talk to the judges, please? And them on how mechanics lanes are supposed to work?
So I think it's a fairly typical response, and some people will really want that, other people not so much. But clearly, if you bring it up, some people are going to be interested. What I always try to do is just give a lot of value, and that fits right in with that, right? So I would say go for it. Okay, you have 2 more boxes to fill. Let me let you guys go. So, under takeaways, write down at least one takeaway you had from today. An insight, an idea, an aha moment, or just a oh no moment. And when you're done with that, write down between 1 and 3 actions that you're going to take as a result of today's workshop. So takeaways is an insight, an idea, an aha moment. actions, 1 to 3 actions you are going to do as a result of this workshop. Give you guys a couple minutes to do that, and we've got one more thing. We might have some time for questions as well. Excellent. Great. Last thing I'd like you to do, you can flip to the last page. Looks like this. Feedback form. You can take it out. At the top is just a typical header for contact information. Of course, I'm not going to spam you or anything like that. Key insights from today. I always like to hear about that. And then if you could, what actions are you committed to taking within the next 2 weeks? Specifically, the next 2 weeks. If you write your name and your email at the top, I will follow up with you in 2 weeks with my business coach hat on to hold you accountable and see how you're doing. But I can only do that if I have your email address. So please write legibly if you can. So what actions are you committed to completing in the next 2 weeks? And then I would really appreciate it. I love getting your feedback on how I did today. So if you could rate the materials, the handouts, the slides, that sort of thing, on a scale of 1 to 10, really appreciate it. And also, if you could rate me on a scale of 1 to 10, appreciate that as well. One thing I do is I read all the comments. So if you have other comments, you can just write in the comments on the session. And sometimes if the comments are generally positive, I might use them. So if you're okay with that, just go ahead and sign them. And then in the lower section, there's a mix of paid and free services that I offer. You guys can read through that. If you're interested in any of those, just check the box. But there's 2 I wanted to call to your attention. The first is I'll be offering to everyone in this room, if you're interested, a triage call. So it's a free 15-minute coaching call with me to just address your top business challenge, one-on-one. Okay? The second is I do these workshops fairly often. So if you like this and you want more, you can click that announcements box, and I'll let you know when I'm doing some other workshops. The rest of it are other services that I offer. If you're interested, check it off and I'll follow up with you separately.